At 10 a.m. this morning, Newcastle United have announced that the Saudi Arabia national team is coming to St James's Park on the 8th of September and the 12th of September as they take on Costa Rica and South Korea international friendlies. As expected, Newcastle fans don't like this at all. It's been heavily panned on social media, with some fans even going as far as saying it's one of the darkest days in the club history. We've lost our football club, all sorts of negative comments about the club. But I'm here today to tell you all about it, to tell you why I personally think Newcastle United have got this Saudi Arabia national team to come to St James's Park. I think there are a lot of benefits to this, regardless of the moral side of things. We're getting to the morals as well, but I'm literally just, in a business point of view, there are a lot of benefits to this. I'm going to explain why. I'm going to tell you all the pros and cons. For a video like this, I think it's always important for me to stay down the middle as well. I'm not going to, I guess, swerve towards one side of the argument. I think it's important for you guys to make your own choices, to take your own opinions away from this video. But I'm just here to tell you everything about it, to tell you some positives and negatives of the national team coming to St James's Park, and just to show you what Newcastle fans actually think about it. But anyway, guys, if you're new around here and you like what you watch, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button. I will be going across to Manchester on Friday. Overnight stay vlog will be in the night time, and of course we've got a huge game on the Saturday night. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button. And finally, as for your own opinions, let me know in the comments section. Do you think it's a good call from Newcastle? Do you think the national team should be welcomed at St James's Park? Let me know your thoughts down below. And without further ado, let's dive into some positives and negatives now. How is Saudi Arabia's national team coming to St James's Park a good thing? Well, the obvious pointer straight away to talk about is the fact that Newcastle United is trying to globalise its fan base. You've seen it in America just 2 weeks ago. You've seen it in Saudi Arabia last December. Newcastle, when they go abroad, they're trying their best to attract new fans to the club. They want to be a worldwide known club, which we are. But the likes of Manchester United, likes of Real Madrid, we're just nowhere near those sort of levels. So Newcastle is trying its best, in particular in Saudi Arabia, to actually make us the biggest English club over there. And stuff like this is obviously going to help that. The national team coming to St James's Park is a big thing. It's also quite big for the community. I don't think many people actually address the fact that Newcastle as a city will benefit a lot from this. You've got thousands of people from Saudi Arabia, thousands of people from Korea, Costa Rica. They're all coming across, which means they all have to book flights. That means they all have to stay in hotels, which means they all have to eat food, they all have to drink in the city. That's a lot of money, a lot of revenue coming into the local community. So it does actually benefit us before we even talk about St James's Park. So there's going to be millions of pounds coming into the city, which I actually think is a good thing. Newcastle is clearly helping the city in the sense that it's going to be lots of money coming in. As for St James's Park, so the tickets are priced at £5 for adults, and I believe it was £3 for children, which is actually ridiculously cheap to watch national team football. But again, Newcastle, I think, are just trying to invite people in at this point. With Saudi Arabia fans as well, a lot of people from Saudi Arabia are wealthy individuals. So Newcastle, against Aston Villa, have introduced their brand new hospitality, £800 per match, which means on a season basis you've got to pay about 16 grand. You want to go to every game. That is a lot of money, and I think it is actually targeted for fans that live abroad who can't attend St James's Park and obviously don't have season tickets. So I think, again, the club is trying to get as much revenue in as possible, so on the financial fair play we have more kitty in the bank to spend in the summer. So I definitely think the club is just trying to entice Saudi Arabia fans to come in, fans that live in Saudi Arabia which may not be keen in Newcastle at the minute, may not watch much of it. All of a sudden they come to St James's Park, they love this ground, the people in Newcastle are nice, the more of a sudden they want to start watching Newcastle on a regular basis. The club will get more fans from this, it's that simple. Regardless of what you think about the morals, Newcastle will benefit heavily from this, and it's definitely a case where I think the club is maximising its profits. They've seen an international break, all of a sudden Newcastle United aren't doing anything. The club's still, in that time when nothing's going on, they've decided, well, we can get some stream of revenue coming in this way. And I think, honestly, it is actually a good thing in a business sense for Newcastle. As for the ethical side now, how is it a bad thing that the Saudi Arabia national team is coming to St James's Park? Well, I think the first and legal point that's going to be brought up is the fact that Newcastle United in a court of law have proven to the Premier League that the PAF and Saudi Arabia government are separate, they're not connected together. But the fact that the national team's coming to St James's Park now, I think will raise questions. The Premier League could probably look at this and go, well, hang on, what's going on here? And then we've got opposition managers. We talked about Klopp yesterday. Klopp is the sort of guy that's going to pipe up in the press conference and all of a sudden he's going to mention this, he's going to reference this, he's going to take digs at Newcastle. Opposition managers will do this, opposition clubs, opposition fans. they will look at this and they will grief us for this. They will just slag Newcastle off on social media. And your viewpoint is, well, do you think Newcastle, the money we'll make from this, do you think it's going to benefit us that much long term? And is it worth all the media drama and attention we're going to get? Does it actually work for Newcastle? Does it make sense for us to do this? So I definitely think the media side of things, journalists as well, they're going to be all over this. Journalists will write articles about this forever. It's going to definitely be something that Newcastle fans will get griefed on social media for. Now, secondly, as for Newcastle fans, I think people will take the piss. I think some people will go to St James's Park. Newcastle fans, they wear their Saudi costumes. When Saudi Arabia score, they'll over-celebrate, they will just take the piss out of the situation. Now, truthfully, obviously we know the human rights issues aren't great over there. For example, you can't be gay in Saudi Arabia. Let's say you're gay in the UK and you see someone doing that on social media, it will upset you quite a bit. You got all sorts of different factors going on and just the morals behind it. For me, let's say I go to the Saudi Arabia national games. Is that right for me to do that? Will fans call me out on it? Will fans say, well, I'm supporting something else by going to the games? It's always a tricky rope to go down, which I mentioned a couple of times, but it just depends on morals. I think people have different morals, people have different opinions, people have different viewpoints. You always kind of got to, I don't know, you always kind of got to make your own choice for yourself. I don't want people to kind of go away from this video making a choice because it's a cast night or making a choice because people have told them not to. I think people are entitled to have their own opinions, have your own mindset. You do what you want to do. I think that's always the smartest way to go around something. For me, am I going to attend the games? I don't know. I honestly don't know yet. I haven't decided. I have to, I guess, take some time to think about it and then I'll make my choice. But Newcastle will have 2 games of the Saudi Arabia national team at St James's Park. Just how do the fans think about this on social media? As I mentioned in the intro, Newcastle fans are not happy. They're upset about the choice. They're showing their anger on social media. And when it comes to criticism, I think this is probably the worst I've seen since the takeover. I think this is heavily pandered by fans. It seems to be Saudi Arabia fans are happy, UK fans are not happy. That's kind of the way to look at it. Now, I'm intrigued to see how the attendance figures do. How many Newcastle fans that live in Newcastle will actually attend the game? How will the event do overall? I think once the event's done and dusted, it'll be quite good to look back and see how it actually went for Newcastle. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is the end for Newcastle? Do you think fans have lost their club? Now, again, I'm not going to kind of go in a certain direction, but I definitely think people have jumped the gun somewhat. I think we'll have to calm down, take a day to think about it. And then once we've had a chance to sit down and reflect on it, I think fans may have a different opinion. I don't know if that's the correct wording, but that's kind of the impression that I would get in social media. But I think Newcastle are going to do this a lot more. You've seen it, the away kit last 2 seasons, Saudi Arabia themed. We've got a new sponsor there. We have Salah. We have 2 brand new Saudi Arabia sponsorships. For example, St James's Park name, I think over the next few months, next couple of seasons, could potentially be called something St James's Park, a Saudi Arabia sponsorship in there. Newcastle are looking to commercialise it as best as they can. They will look at every possible streaming avenue. They'll make as much money as possible. So under financial fair play, they can compete with the best teams in world football to sign the players they want to sign. Long term, this will result in Newcastle winning major honours. It's going to happen. I can't even stand here anymore and say it's not inevitable. The fact of how much money we're spending, this is a long-term process. They're not going to sell up after 2 years. They're going to be here for a good 15, 20 years. There's just no way, surely there's no way Newcastle can just not win a trophy. You're going to be spending so much money. There's so much time, effort and attention getting put in that Newcastle are just naturally going to get there. And I think we as fans, is that all we ever wanted? Is it okay for all this to be going on in the background if Newcastle perform well on the pitch? It's tricky. I think everyone has different viewpoints, everyone has different opinions. So for me to kind of come out and tell you guys, I believe this, I believe that, I just don't think it's probably the best way to go down this video. I think it's just always good to kind of stay there. You guys can make your own choice. I think that's my sort of viewpoint anyway from this video. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going yet. I'll have to think about it, and then we'll make my own choice privately. And then I will see the videos on the channel, or you don't see the video. So we'll see what happens. But I wish you all the best anyway. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm intrigued to see the comment section thoughts on this. I've got a feeling it's actually going to be positive in the comments. Now, last time I made a video like this, it was highly negative on the likes of Twitter, but on YouTube it was actually positive. So I don't know, it's interesting to see people's thoughts. So let me know your thoughts anyway. I wish you all the best. Take care now, and I'll see you all in the next one.